Greetings, my fellow animers. It's the Animer guy here, and it's been quite a busy few weeks for me, so I had to skip my usual schedule and couldn't upload any videos about 3 weeks or so. But from now on, I'm back to my usual schedule and I'm back with another video. Have you ever wondered why did Light circle his two Death Notes around on this scene? Probably yes, or some of you guys may not even remember this scene. In any case, since Light never really explained about this, we just ignored it. He only said when the time comes it'll come to use, then we all just forgot about it. Because Ryuk also said there's no use circling the Death Note around, but actually there was. And I did some digging and found out that the idea behind it was very interesting and was indeed important piece for Light's ultimate plan. So on this video I'm going to break down what happened on this scene and explain why and how. First of all, in case there might be people who don't remember what happened and feeling lazy to rewatch the whole episode, I'll make it easy for you with this quick little recap. After Light succeeded with his plan against L, he got his memory back. We saw Light's flashback where he explained everything to do with his plan to Rem and Ryuk in the forest. He explained everything except why he circled the Death Note around. And I'm going to give you the answer right away for further explanation's sake. The purpose was to switch the Shinigamis for the two Death Note. In other words, swap the two Shinigamis for the Death Note so that Misa can later make Shinigami ideal and kill L. I know it doesn't make any sense for now, but it will on the explanation part. Now, I'm going to explain the scene on this illustration I prepared just to make it more cohesive. So it's going to be very simple. So I'm going to name Light's Death Note as Death Note 1 and Misa's Death Note as Death Note 2 respectively. Before the scene happened, the ownership and Shinigami relationship with the Death Note was like this. For Death Note 1, the owner was Light and the Shinigami was Ryuk. And for Death Note 2, the owner was Misa and the Shinigami that was following the Death Note was Rem. And the interesting thing is going to happen from now. So we're going to go through the whole process one by one. Since Light had both the Death Notes, we're going to start like this. Now Light has both the Death Notes. Okay, firstly we saw Light was giving a Death Note to Ryuk, and that was the Death Note 1, which is Light's. And then Ryuk gave the Death Note to Rem. So now the owner of the Death Note 1 becomes Rem. Okay, as for the Death Note 2, Light firstly gives it to Rem, Rem gives it to Ryuk, and then Ryuk gives it back to Light. And it went like this for a while, but after Light got confined at his own will, Light cancelled his own ownership. So in the end, Ryuk became the owner again. So after the whole process, as you can see it on the table below, on the after table, for the Death Note 1, the owner became Rem, and also the Shinigami became Rem. And for the Death Note 2, the owner is now Ryuk, and also the Shinigami is Ryuk. And have you noticed the change? Notice for the first table, the before table, the Shinigami for the Death Note 1 was Ryuk, but now for the after table, the Shinigami for the Death Note 1 is now Rem. And likewise, the change is also happened to the Death Note 2. It was Rem for the Death Note 2, but now it's Ryuk. So the whole point of Light doing this was just to switch the Death Notes around so that Misa can later come into the forest by Light's instruction without her memory, and Misa can retrieve her memory, and also she can make the Shinigami ideal without any problem. Simply in few words, Misa's Death Note now has Ryuk as a Shinigami, and Light's Death Note is the owner, both the owner and Shinigami is now Rem. Because if Light just left Rem's Death Note to Rem and Ryuk's Death Note to Ryuk, and then he went to his plan, it would cause trouble, because later Misa can of course retrieve her memory, but Rem wouldn't let Misa do the Shinigami ideal one more time, so Light had to also calculate this in order to kill L successfully. So the whole purpose was to swap the Shinigami so that Misa can later make the Shinigami ideal, and kill L. And that'll be all for today's video. And by the way, if there's any character you would like for me to make explanations or analysis about, please let me know it in the comment section, and I'll be happy to take any request for further videos. And see you guys next time. Thank you.